Next, step into a world of artistry and history as we unveil one of the Dell's most cherished masterpieces, the stained glass window, including the coronation window. Its recent rehabilitation stands as a testament to the Dell's commitment to safeguarding its history. One of the main centerpieces at Hotel del Coronado is its original 5x6 stained glass coronation window, also known as the Woman in the Window. It features nearly 700 pieces of glass, and it was designed by architect James Reed, who designed the famed hotel. This unique artwork stands out for its exceptional design and size.
She's a spectacular window. She was the focal point of the lobby originally, and above the lobby fireplace. For many years. It's a focal point then, it's a focal point now, and she's just gorgeous.
The rehabilitation of the antique window was part of the Dell's amended master plan to restore the hotel. Architect James Reed called the stained glass scene an allegorical representation of Coronado, with a landscape depicting San Diego's mountains, valleys, and bay.
This just shows some of the detail of the framing for the coronation window that was set in the fireplace. It was visible from both inside and from outside. Some of the things that this drawing reveals is that it was framed using Oregon sugar pine, which is the wood that we used inside the crown room.
With the arrival of steam heat and fire concerns, many of the Dell's original fireplaces were removed from its 425 guest rooms as early as 1892. Prompting the relocation of the antique stained glass window in the 1930s and again in the 1990s to the 4th floor, where it would stay for decades until its rehabilitation in 2020.
Oh, we're floating above the Hotel del Coronado's front entry. We're about 4 stories up. Most of the glass has a special tape on it to hold it in place that won't damage it. The area of glass that has hand painting on it, we don't want to use any tape.
Standing on scaffolding nearly 50 feet high in 95-degree weather, we watched as workers removed the antique window.
If you were to identify one feature of the entire hotel that has the most historic significance, it's probably that window.
During the hotel's restoration, work crews carefully removed the stained glass window from the 4th floor. Over 3 days, workers dismantled the frame to free the window. It was hoisted down with a big crane and transported to Bera Stained Glass Studios in San Diego's North County for a nearly year-long rehabilitation.
We were hired to do the rehabilitation on the antique stained glass window. This window was built in 1887.
Nicole Purvis and Brian Canfield of Bera Stained Glass Studios, experts in antique stained glass restoration, rehabilitation, and recreations, assessed the window and discovered it had faced outward for more than 2 decades. Despite being protected by plexiglass, prolonged sun exposure had caused significant damage. What condition was it in when it came in?
It was in a failing state. The lead was completely deteriorated. All of the joints were cracked and broken, all the lead joints. They're not soldered yet, so you can't really tell.
To restore the iconic window, Nicole and Brian carefully studied its intricate design. They could see architect James Reed's vision in creating something grand that perfectly reflected the hotel's architecture and San Diego's landscape. A thorough condition assessment of the stained glass window uncovered valuable insights into its overall condition and rehabilitation needs.
The leading, which is the metal in this, was severely deteriorated, oxidized. All of the majority of the joints were cracked. The lead joints and solder joints were cracked. There were pieces of glass that were coming out of the lead came, and it had been in that state for a long time.
Assessing the window was painstakingly slow but vital. Nicole and Brian had the unique opportunity to see firsthand how this masterpiece was originally crafted. At times, it was like piecing together a giant jigsaw puzzle, documenting and identifying each piece. The window was carefully cleaned and each piece was soldered on both sides. That's nearly 3,000 solder points for the entire antique window. While most of the glass pieces in the window were maintained, there were 3 that were beyond repair and had to be completely recreated and hand-painted to match. These are some of the original pieces that were part of the window?
These are some of the pieces that we chose to recreate because of the condition of the original piece was such that it couldn't be reused. Even though this one has been epoxied, there's just too many internal fractures and visible fractures.
It was critical to recreate the damaged pieces to preserve the antique window, especially because stained glass windows of such grandeur and intricate design are commonly linked with the architectural marvels found in European cathedrals and castles. This is why the coronation window is so extraordinary.
Same with the arm.
Oh, wow.
You can see some of it was epoxied, but also you can see the chips were just such to a degree, the aesthetics changed significantly, and it's just, when you have a piece of glass that has this kind of internal cut or a 90-degree angle, it's so vulnerable. We chose to recreate that one as well.
During the rehabilitation, Nicole and Brian made some remarkable discoveries, including rare glass pieces that change color under certain conditions. These unique finds, made from 1880s materials and chemicals, reflect the Victorian era's craftsmanship, further enhancing the coronation window's uniqueness.
That when you put a black light on it, it glows, and it's uranium glass. Also, sometimes people refer to it as Vaseline glass, and it only glows in black light. So I was very happy. I didn't know that they existed in the window until did the conditions assessment.
With the remarkable stained glass window discoveries, Nicole and Brian prioritized preserving the design and integrity, working to retain as many original elements as possible.
In addition, you have these jewels, as we call them, and there's a lot of jewels in different styles of jewels in this, but typically they are hand pressed. You take molten glass, you put it in some sort of form. Sometimes it's graphite, and then it would have these kind of beveled recesses in it, and then the glass is pressed into it.
In addition to the large coronation window, 3 small stained glass windows on the 3rd floor survived and were restored by Bera Studios. 2 missing stained glass windows on the same floor were uncovered through black and white photos and were recreated based on original window designs.
This is one of the 4 antique historic windows. It was built in 1887. There's 3 of this particular style, and the 2 of them are with the red jewel, and then there's 2 that'll have the blue jewel.
Bera Studios also recreated 21 new windows for the Dell. Once completed, each window was carefully packaged and returned to the hotel for installation. A large crane carefully lifted the antique coronation window back to its original 2nd floor spot. It was all overseen by Nicole, Brian, architect David Marshall, and the hotel's construction team. Our camera crew captured this historic moment. It was like watching the original window placement in 1887. Visitors now get to enjoy its beauty for years to come.